Joined by the Green Senator David Shoebridge. What do you make of the coalition's stance? We've got it out of the party room, confirmation. They will wave through the government's changes in the end on tax.
No, they're like the goldfish that's jumped out of the bowl. They're flip-flopping all over the place on this. But look, I mean, it's hardly surprising that the coalition are going to back it in. It still delivers the great bulk of those stage 3 tax cuts to the wealthiest. You know, most of the politicians who voted for that are still going to get a $4,500 tax cut a year. It's still skewed towards higher income earners. So, you know, not surprising that the coalition have come out and backed it in. Maybe they were frightened that, you know, with additional pressure, that Labor may have been forced to go even further and put more of the money towards low income earners or trim upper income tax cuts even further.
It deals the Greens out of the equation though now.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if the coalition and Labor are going to back in, you know, Morrison's stage 3 light delivered by Albanese, then we're not going to have the numbers to stop that. We will still keep making the case for a far, far fairer outcome. I mean, there's something like $80 billion in tax cuts being given to people earning more than $150 grand a year. And for me, for the Greens, that $80 billion could have been much better putting dental into Medicare than giving a billionaire or a politician $4,500.
So, yeah, well, anyway, confirmation that those tax changes will go through. I've been... Well,
At least today. I mean, you know, we don't know where the coalition will go tomorrow, but today there's a new document.
Very good chance that they deliver on that. I did report a bit earlier this hour, though, Labor sources have told me their polling suggests this change is going better in the bush, better in regional and rural areas than the cities, going well in areas where the Voice went terribly in terms of support. So what do you make of that? The fact that the sort of regional areas are backing these tax changes more than the city? Well,
I think all across the country, people are doing it so hard at the moment. Cost of living is smashing people. So the idea of people between like 40 grand and 120 grand actually getting something is kind of attractive. And you can see why, you know, it's better than the Morrison's original plan. Like, I think it's a reflection of just how hard people are doing it, having trouble paying the mortgage, having trouble paying for food. You know, I think there was a chance to do a lot more fairness than what's happened with this bill. The Greens think it could have been a lot fairer. But, you know, you can see why people are grabbing anything they can.
Big news on relations with China. Just when the government thought that things had stabilised, a terrible situation for Dr. Yang Hangjun. Suspended death sentence. What does this say about our relations with Beijing?
Well, I mean, we should be absolutely clear. If you're pretending the Chinese justice system is going to produce a just outcome, you haven't looked at it. And the thought that an Australian citizen could potentially face a death penalty for effectively being a democracy activist and for standing up for values that we share are deeply disturbing.
Is this a situation, though? You know the China, the Communist Party and the way it works better than most. Is this a situation where...
I don't know about that.
Well, you watch it more closely than a lot of viewers. Is this a situation where the security apparatus overrides, the foreign diplomats within Beijing, that the security apparatus say, no, we're going to do this, stuff your efforts to try and smooth things out with Australia?
Well, that wouldn't be unique to China, where you have a state security apparatus that is driving some pretty unfair prosecutions against people. I mean, I'd say the same's happening for Julian Assange with the US security apparatus, trying to put him in jail potentially for life. What I think is problematic for our government is why isn't it just an absolute point of principle? And it shouldn't matter whether it's the United States or China or India or any country. If they're treating an Australian citizen in the way that Young has been treated, if they're treating them without unfairness, without a fair process, we should be robust, we should be rugged, we should be unapologetic in calling it out.
Senator Shoebridge, appreciate your time.